Hey, good morning. My name is Bob Chandler. I'm a member of the RVR's Technology Committee, and I want to thank you for coming to our CRS class today. Today's presentation is brought to you by our committee, and we've got several members here, including our chair. This is a hybrid class. We've got about 12 here in the class and many, many more out in Zoom land. So thank you for being here. There will be times during the presentation where we ask for questions. At that time, you can unmute yourself if you have them. You can also type into the chat. Laura will be monitoring that from her desk, and she can bring those questions up for you if you prefer to do it that way. We're recording today's class, and we'll make that recording available for at least 30 days. Afterwards, we'll be sending a survey out to the attendees on today's class. Not only do we want your input on today's class, but we use this, and many of our committees here use that to decide what the classes to bring you next. So please take the time, fill that out, send it back to us so that we can bring you what it is you want in classes coming up. Before we get started, I do want to mention a couple upcoming RVAR offerings. First one is on Tuesday, April 18th. This is our annual Realtor and Affiliates Night. This event will have a new location this year. We're going to be at the Roanoke Country Club. Today is the last day you can buy your tickets in advance. Otherwise, you can buy them at the door when you arrive. One more class we have is on Tuesday, April the 25th. It's focused on setting expectations for sellers. Curtis Burchett will be here to explain how he sets list price in today's market, and Jay Kilby will show us how he uses MLS statistics and graphs to educate sellers and what to expect in today's market. This class can be attended either in person or by Zoom. You can register online. And for those of you attending, register today while you're here. So let me introduce Nikki Morgan now, who's taught for us before. Nikki is the MLS sales executive for CRS Data. And I want to thank CRS Data for being one of RVAR's partner sponsors. She has spent more than 25 years in the property technology industry. She has been a sales executive for CRS Data MLS Tax Suite for 12 years. She guides MLS executives, real estate veterans, and young professionals alike to leverage the power of property tax data to grow and nurture their business. And that's why we've invited Nikki to join us today. Nikki, thank you.
Thank you very much. All righty. Good morning, everybody. How is everybody today? Good. Those in Zoom land and those in front of me, welcome. Like they said, I'm Nikki Morgan, and I'm here to take you through the basics and into the advanced side of CRS Data's MLS Tax Suite. For those of you that are sitting here and in Zoom land, can I just get a show of hands of those of you that are brand new to the industry and or CRS Data, or so brand news? A lot of faces are familiar, so welcome to those of you via Zoom that are brand new, and those of you that are veterans with us and with CRS Data. We're glad you're here. Things have changed over the last couple of years, so we do want to take this opportunity to cover all the new exciting features that we have available to you. So again, I'm logged in just like you would be logged in via Flex. So that's where we're going to start today. As I get started, one of the first things I do make sure that I point out is when you're creating listings, is everyone taking advantage of creating listings and auto-populating tax into those listings? That happening currently? No. All right, we're going to put that on our list, and that's something that we're going to talk about a little bit more, and or even give you a video and talk to my friends at Flex to see if we can do something to promote that to a little bit more effective way. Okay, so first things first, where do you find CRS Data? Where do you go to first access the system? The first way I like to point people is by tapping on the menu ribbon. And when I tap on the menu ribbon, I do scroll down just a bit, depending on where I'm at on the screen, and I'm able to find CRS Tax. So this will take you into a searching mode. And then you'll be able to decide whether or not you search via a simple search or whether you search via an advanced search. We're all a bit different. So we'd like to give everybody an opportunity to do what feels more comfortable to them. Now, as I scroll down, we all know that with Flex, if you place that small star in front of any menu ribbon item, it will then place that across the top of your screen so you have easy access. So if you find yourself using CRS often enough that that menu ribbon is a little harder to get to and you want a quicker link That'll appear across the top just by starring that as one of your favorites. All right. Another way to find us is through your hot sheet, if you will. So I'm going to go down to the hot sheet and I'm going to select the properties that are new listings, things that went on the market in the last 24 hours. When I tap new listings, it goes ahead and brings me and displays all the properties that are new on the market. I can scroll through these and do a little bit of research and see everything that Flex has to offer in regards to information on those properties. But if you wanted to take a look and go ahead and access CRS data for that individual property, just simply tap on the number to the right of the active notice. When I do that, what it does is it opens up a full view of the record for Flex. And then to the far right-hand corner, by tapping on CRS tax info, you'll go ahead and access that property report for that property versus having to search for it. All right. Now, could you also go to our system directly and skip this step and just search for that property? Absolutely. That's just a quicker way to get to what you need for a specific property without having to search first. All right. Going back again, I'm going to start my position today, if you will. I'm going to go right on down to the menu ribbon and I'm going to just choose CRS Data Tax. So I can take you directly to what I call my home screen. And by default, your home screen may look just a bit different. And let me tell you why. I don't know how much you've heard about us if you're new to the industry, but CRS Data has been around about 33 years or so. And we pride ourselves on presenting a customized solution. That solution is created for your MLS individually. Well, not only that, we realize that each and every one of you does business just a bit differently. So we want to make sure that you have an opportunity to customize to your own personal level as well. All right. So end user customizations could potentially make your screen look different than mine. So I'm going to call this the home screen, the simple search screen, if you will, but only because I haven't customized my search at all. Those of you that know about advanced settings or profile settings or custom settings will have heard me say, if you don't love the way this presents for you, go ahead and change it. That's the luxury. We've got a little bit of voice here. The MLS leadership guided me to what you needed on the front end. And then we decided that membership should have a say. They should have a little bit of room to make this more custom for themselves. Let's look at that now. Tapping on settings in the far right-hand corner. This is where you're going to find all the things that are going to be very customized for you. When you tap on settings, just be aware, for those of you that have been around a while, it used to be called profiles and settings. Of course, with real estate on the page, we decided to shorten that so we could fit more on the page and make it less crowded, plain and simple, right? So settings, same as profile and settings, what you'll find right away is an opportunity to brand the system. If you haven't already gone into settings and branded that, meaning upload a photo, upload your business card, those items then will appear on each and every report that you pull out of CRS Data. So when you arrive at someone's home, getting ready to give them all the information you've gathered because you're in preparation of listing their property, that way all the property reports, demographics, subdivision information, and property information alike will have your branding on the top of each one of those pages. I mean, we put a lot of effort into making sure I see badges, I see clothing that is logoed, right? And that's all about being a real estate professional. We are on all the time. From the grocery store to vacation, we might meet the next person that we're going to list a property for. So nothing different here. Put your information on these documents, okay? Some other things that we'll talk about through basics and advanced class is that there are a few other simple, if you will, customizations here that I want you to be mindful to. Place your email address in because that will allow us to make sure when you're sending an email that you're copied back on it if you choose to. Default county search. This is a good one. So although you have a vast amount of counties, all right, that includes or is inclusive of what leadership pointed out that you needed, but it is a long list. And as you get ready to search for properties, you'll notice that that long list feels longer when you're looking for a county that you can't find. Even though they are in alphabetical order, it just seems like we're always super busy, and it just is one of those times, like you pass it 3 times before you find it. This default county or city search will allow you to place up to 4 counties or cities into that box so that you're searching in those areas by default. Now, by default just means as I step in, I know what's already populated there because I told the system, this is my territory. This is more likely than not the places that I'm going to be looking for data. Now, when you get there, you can review that and should absolutely review that to make sure that you're looking in the correct county or city. But at that point, if there's a different or unique area that you're just happen to be looking for this time, you can just remove and replace while you're doing the search. This is just your setup. All right. Now, if you do nothing here, it's fine. And your system will become slightly sticky. We start to follow you around a little bit and say, wait a minute, she's typically in Roanoke. So I see that she's in Roanoke. I'm going to find that Roanoke is in my default county search box only because of tendencies of searching, if you will. Search settings. This is where I talked about my screen may look slightly different than yours if you have already gone in and modified your search settings. Meaning, I'm going to start showing you how to do some simple searching. We'll also cross over into map searching and then even advanced searching. What this means is my search screen is set up to show me simple first and then give me options for advanced and map. If you already know today that there's nothing simple about you and that simple search just doesn't really even attract you in any sort of way, then you can change your radio button here and tell the system to reorder the way in which we present search options. So put the map first because I am always going to want a map. Just by changing that radio button and tapping on save, you have allowed the system to manage what comes first so that you are, in fact, just not bothered by having to go through simple if you're just not likely to use it. Now, I will say that just because you say you love a map search doesn't mean that I won't leave in the wings the simple and the advanced so that you can easily access those as well. It's just a matter of ordering them to your liking. All right. Now, the good thing about the settings tab is that you can change your mind as frequently as you please. And I know for me, it can change by the day and several times throughout the day. So this isn't a one and done, and you can go in and modify this as many times as you see fit. Obviously, branding could change, addresses change, email addresses possibly, and photos you may want to dump and replace often, right? So remember, nothing here is a commitment beyond just the moment, and you can then go in and change it if you change your mind. All right. For now, that's all I'm going to cover here. But in a few minutes, when we get a little bit further into the system, I'll show you some additional features you can take advantage of. All right. Sorry, all right. Now, as I scroll down, I'm going to remind you that on the right-hand side of the screen, there is a help tab. What that help tab does for us is if I tap on help, it is content responsive. And by that being content responsive, it means if I didn't go through everything with a fine-tooth comb for you and you have additional questions, then you can tap on help, and being content responsive means that you can read all about all the other features that are available for you through the settings tab. All right. So keep that in mind. The help tab will and can be your friend when it comes to more information about anything within the system. All right, so I'm going to go back just one more screen. And then the last thing on this page is we've got a help tab at the far left, and we've got a back to previous page on the right. If you know where you were before you came to this page, by all means, use back to previous page. But if you're anything like me, sometimes there's just too much going on and I don't know where I was and I know where I want to go. And that is back to the home screen. All right, so both options are there for you. Let's do some searching. All right, top of the screen, the MLS Tax Suite is in the center for a reason, but not everybody cares. The MLS Tax Suite, powered by CRS Data. Who cares? They want to know about you. We're prepping this for you to be able to present great data. So remember, this is where the branding comes into account. So make sure let's do that. Now, as we move down a little bit, the gold bar underlines the word property search. It lets me know that I am in a position to do a property search. If in fact you're staying with me throughout today, I'm going to get into doing prospecting later today. And when we do, we'll tap on prospecting, and that gold bar will underline the word prospecting and prep us to begin some prospecting. All right. As I move down, I've got two blue buttons, two shades of blue based on which one's tapped on. And currently it says, I'm going to look for properties. All right. To the right, I see foreclosure. So here goes it. If you do a search in general from here, you're going to get all property data details, regardless of whether or not they're in the MLS, out of the MLS, with foreclosure history or without. Everything. So if in fact you are looking for only properties that have had some sort of foreclosure activity, that's when you're going to tap on foreclosure and say, I'm here to do something very specific. Please, CRS Data, weed out and only give me the results that also are properties that have foreclosure activity or data, whether that's historical and satisfied, auction, lis pendens, etc., but they have some sort of foreclosure flag. All right, so two types of searches within the property data. We're going to start with just tapping on foreclosure so that you can see that this is really simple to go through and much different than just a simple search. Still making you decide, or at least confirming the counties or cities that you want to search in. Tapping on that box just to confirm and look through and make sure that you're where you want to be. And then follow the lead of less is always more when searching for tax records. From tapping on only active foreclosure records to deciding whether you have and are going to use a case number or a combination of case number, file date, mortgage date, or even auction date or mortgage amount. Scrolling through, maybe it's a street or a street number, so just a street name, or maybe just a subdivision that you've kind of noticed that there's a lot of activity that seems foreclosure-ish, something going on, and you want to look for all properties in that neighborhood or in that subdivision that have or seem to have a lot of foreclosures happening. So you want to use the subdivision name to search with. Now, if you start typing, as you know, CRS does the heavy lifting and brings you a results list that says, okay, here's what I find when it comes to subdivisions that start with the word lake. Now I can just choose the subdivision I'm looking for. I can put more than one and separate those with a comma. If I scroll back up to the top, I may want to just verify the right counties. Again, it's pretty simple to go through here and decide what it is you're looking for or how you want to find those properties. We can even go in and tap and add a percentage sign here in front of the word lake or in front of whatever you're typing. Folks, what that does is it turns it into a wildcard and it changes it from starts with to contains. So instead of just starts with the word lake, now we're looking for the containing the letters L-A-K-E. Okay. Remember that wildcard exists throughout the program for your use. And obviously it will save you time and effort. Foreclosure searching is very simple. You'll come to know and trust and love just a simple way to get what you need and get out. Now, I'm going to go ahead and change back and tap on the property. And now I would begin a simple property search. Once again, I've got 3 counties in there only because that's what I've searched most frequently. If I wanted to add a county, I would tap in the county box, swap, replace. I can add up to 4. Remember, the system will alert you that you can only have 4 at a time. Now, a simple search means owner name, property address, subdivision, parcel ID, or MLS number. It's 5 simple fields of data. Look, there is so much information inside of a tax record, and we all know that. This is a simple search because we're just giving you 5 simple criteria to use to look for. Not all 5 pieces of information. Please don't type in 123 Main Street in X subdivision with a parcel number of this and an MLS number of that and an owner name of this. It has happened, okay? I've had people say, nope, can't find it. And I look and they've typed in with a comma, like everything, like this was a question. Not a question, just giving you options. Once again, I'm going to type in the word lake. And now let's just kind of cover our bases. What does it mean when we type in the word lake? When I type in lake, it gives me owner names, street addresses, as well as subdivisions that start with the word or the letters L-A-K-E. Pretty simple. Each one of these containers has a certain number of results based on what's available. And to the far right, you'll see the words view more. What this does is we are banking on the fact at this point, you're probably more likely than not knowing what you're looking for. And it's not necessarily that you are waffling between owner name and street address or subdivision. You probably type the word lake with intention, right? So with intention, I was looking for a subdivision, but I don't see it in this list. Could it still be here? It's possible. The view more is a way that we keep the results on your screen limited so that then you can tell me if you think there's more and you want to see all that exists in those counties, tap view more and it'll give you additional properties or subdivisions if there are more. So as I type view more or tap, look, there are more. In essence, it just keeps you from scrolling within that screen. All right, so now I've got a ton of subdivisions that start with the word lake. All right, now, what if you don't want to choose one of these subdivisions? What if you want them all? Is that realistic? Maybe not, but I like the fact that I can do it. If I want to see all the properties recorded in all the subdivisions that start with the letters L-A-K-E, and I want to see them now, I can simply tap on the word submit. Now I've got 680 properties. That's 680 properties in all of those subdivisions that started with the word lake. Now let's break down the results. Well, you know, let's not. Let me tease you a little bit for a second. See the results and take them in. Kind of get an idea of what we're looking at as far as the way that page is set up. Before we jump in and break down the results, let's go back to search one more time. I typed in the word lake. Now let me do a percentage sign and do LLC. Properties that have an owner name that can contain LLC. Maybe, right? Percentage sign plus the word bank. Properties that are bank owned. Just trying to encourage the idea of try it out, test the waters. We've got the data. We just need to figure out the best way for you to get what you're looking for. Percentage sign 123 will give us owners' names as well as the street address versus just the street name, and parcel IDs that are inclusive of a 123. So somewhere in the parcel ID. All right. Now I'm going to go back to my trusty friend Lake. And I'm going to scroll on down and tell the system I want to view more of those subdivisions that contain the letters LAKE. And now I really am going to tap submit, and we're going to talk about results. 2,306 of those results. The way this is placed out here for you, far left-hand corner, the number of properties I found. Moving across the screen to the center, I see my MLS icons. From active, sold, pendings, expired, and even foreclosure properties. When they're in your system, under any of those specific statuses, you will know it because I will mark them. And those symbols you'll come to know and trust will be pointing out those properties. If I don't know what I want to do with this 2,306 properties, and I just want to save those results, I can tap on save and save them any way I please. Then later, I can come back in here and create labels, do a little prospecting, export them into a CSV file. I may not know what I want to do with them yet, so saving them would be a good option. All right. Notice that we've got a little map view teasing us in the center of the screen. Now, once again, I will tell you that your screen is set up based on your default user settings. The default user settings you're looking at with these results are as follows. We did a simple search, and I'm displaying simple results. I'm displaying these results with a map option and a list view. So the map's there and it's an option, but not open for me to see currently. The list of results follow as it goes down the screen. All right. So again, I have a list of properties. Those properties are showing simple results, which again is the city, state, zip, the address, the parcel, the owner. And if it's in a subdivision and also has a lot, it will also display that as well. Now the map is still an opportunity and what I call a by request opportunity. So we've got two options here. I can choose to tell the system to open that map for me because I've decided in this instance, I do want to see the map. But if you're already thinking that you're a map person and you always want to see the properties on the map as well, then you can go to your settings tab and you can tap on map versus list view and tell the system that you want a map view, and the list will follow the map, but the map won't be closed. It will always be open for you every time you do a search. And then the next question is, if I'm going to open the map, how do you like your map to show up? Do you like Nikki's boring road views by default, or would you prefer the aerial views? It's your call, and you can decide here. Keep in mind, for everything that you set up inside of the settings tab, you'll have an on-demand option to close it back down or change it back. Or for that instance, if you want aerial all the time, and once in a while you like to see the road view, you can on-demand ask for it and not change your settings. All right. So again, anything you change inside of your settings, tap, make the changes, and make sure you tap save. All right. I'm going to go back to previous page because I do, in fact, remember where I came from. And I'm going to tap on map view. Now I've got my properties. I can hover and stall over those property data indicators, and it gives me additional property data details. So hover and stall and see property data details. Scroll and see the property data details still in a list view below the map. Now, remember, we did a simple search and we're looking at simple results. In just a few minutes, when we get into doing a little bit more of an advanced search, I'll remind you that these simple results are by default. But if you would prefer have custom results, meaning what you see here doesn't make you happy or it doesn't do what you need it to do. If there's a commercial real estate professional in the room, we know that a commercial real estate professional may want to see different things than one that does mostly residential. All right. The same thing for appraisers. Different people look at different pieces of the data, and there's more than 58 pieces of the data. So why would I make you commit to my by default results? Remember, custom results are created by you through your settings tab, and you choose what fields are going to appear here versus the simple results. Okay. Now, the other things that came up when I opened up my map, I have a number beside each and every one of those property addresses. If I'm looking for that property on the map, and obviously I have 2,000 plus results, it's going to be hard to find each property if I want a visual of that on the map. Tap on the number and it will zoom the map into where that property exists. Tap on the property address and see the property report. Tap on the arrow that points back to the margin and start your good book of property data, because you'll have 2,306 property reports and you'll be able to pan through them like a book. So if you tap one of those arrows, it's going to take you to the first property report on this list of results. And then you can page through and look at property report after property report after property report. Okay. Last thing in this list is there looks to be some sort of small box next to the number. That gives you a chance to check the box to include or check the box to exclude. And with this many results, it's quite possible you want to remove some of those properties. As I scroll down to the bottom of the screen, you'll also notice that if you're viewing 15 results and want more than that, tap the down arrow to ask for more results. And more results will display. I can even pan around and open up page after page. As we do that, I've got a little added benefit here. When I find a property that's in the MLS, I already told you, I'll make sure you know it and I'll display it so that it's easily identified. Obviously, that red tag from the beginning of our conversation means that that property status is sold. And as it's been sold, it gives me a link back to Flex, as well as sold status, sold date, and sold price. Okay, so all of that exists and it gives me an option to tap and view it back in Flex. So as I tap on that, it does open up that multiple listing number and the documents that go along with it. All right, simple, simple, simple to get what you need. And because it's set up the way it is, it opens over top. Okay. Couple of other things. Remember, I said check the box to keep or check the box to remove. This is where you're going to make that decision if you're scaling back and removing properties from here, just based on your review. To the right, you'll find create labels, and we'll do that when we do a little prospecting. That should be fun. And exporting the list. Once again, I pick on or reference appraisers and or commercial real estate professionals, because when it comes to a commercial individual or someone that's doing appraisers, they like to export into a CSV file. Not everybody does, and maybe you do too, but this gives you the option to do one or the other or both, and we'll do that when we do prospecting. So you can also take these results to a whole new level and go ahead right from here and create labels and do your prospecting, if you will. Every person in the room gets 5,000 of those exports per month. If that's not enough, we can have a conversation. We'll make sure you get what you need. Okay. So, and if you're new today and you go through and you export 4,999 of them because you're learning the system, then by all means, reach out to Laura. Laura will reach out to me and I will give those back, because that means you were listening and you discovered there's something you can do with this data that you weren't doing or aren't doing and that you need to be, or you need to become more well-versed on. So practice away, download all of them. I will give them all back. All right. Final thing on results. Down the left-hand panel, you can modify the results. Meaning, if I decide that I want to take this 2,300 plus properties and modify or refine them by a specific subdivision versus all of, or a specific street, I can do that and then update the results. All right. Now, the good part about talking about what results are is that CRS is a creature of habit. I don't want you to have to learn different things. I want you to see that when we talk about results, it doesn't matter how you get to them, you're going to have the expectation to see the same thing. So everything we're talking about now will also be relevant when doing an advanced and a map search. All right. As I scroll back up to the top, let's go back to search. And let's jump into and do a little advanced and map searching so that finally I can introduce you to the property report and the layers that are connected to the property report, as well as the map layers that you can turn on a map and start seeing all the same useful, very rich data that we offer. All right. So advanced search and map search based on my setup are in the center of the screen, and it is a blue bar. It basically is everything that's not a simple search is going to be found under advanced and map search. All right. So I'm tapping on advanced and map search. First thing we do, and I'll say this probably 16 more times, check your counties, cities, towns, because if you don't and you get 0 results when looking, 99.9% of the time, it's because you're looking in the wrong area. All right. If you tap and start an address, you're going to see options of results. If you're not in the right county, you're not going to get anything. All right. So I'm going to take a look at and make sure I don't want to modify in any way the counties in which I am searching in. And the first thing I come across is searching by map. So using a map to search is in fact an advanced way to search. Not a simple search, but an advanced search using a map. So it is the first of 2 additional ways to search beyond a simple search. Now, I'll be honest. On the right-hand side of the map, you'll see a toolbar that lets you pan in and out. It also allows you to change your views from road to aerial or even street side. Remember, settings allows you to tell the map what view you prefer by default. But on demand, if I show up at a map and am in some kind of mood for aerial and my settings are for road, then I can quickly ask the system to just change the map out for me for this instance. All right, so on demand. I could pan in and start to see parcel lines right away, but personally, I just don't love to do it that way. I could go ahead and scroll down and start drawing polygons, rectangles, and radiuses, and even freehand until I uncover or discover tons of properties. Personally, I don't care for it. I'd rather step into that map and get my hands dirty. All right. I could even scroll in far enough when I start to see those parcel lines and measure individual parcels. Walking through a neighborhood, whose property is deeper, wider, longer, who's got the best piece of property in the cul-de-sac. I could pan in and start measuring parcels and get lot dimensions and acreage. I just don't care to do that right here. Like I said, I like to get my hands dirty. You do you, but I like to tap on view larger map. All right. What that does is it gives me my big map and it gives me everything I can use to start filtering my results down the left-hand panel. And that's exactly what we're getting ready to do. Let's start with talking about what types of filters I can use here. Last sales date, last sales price. I can drag and drop, or I can tap and type. Dragging and dropping is just the way it sounds. If I'm looking for something in a range of just under 1 million and then just over 2 million, I just discovered 856 properties in that range. I don't sell real estate. I don't live here. Can you imagine the power you have with the knowledge that you bring to the system and to the consumers in this area? Just know that it's right here at the tips of your fingers. My map came alive and it answered the question, here are the properties, Nikki, you're looking for with that sales price range. All right. What if I wanted to also ask the system to use appraisal or the appraisal value, or even the last transfer date? The map comes up and allows me to tap to decide and refine. How about owner name? Is it likely you would want to refine based on an owner name? Quite possibly not, but why not put it out there? We've got the data. Let you come up with the types of searches you're going to do. I'm going to give you the avenue or the ability to do it. I'm not questioning whether you should refine using a last name, an owner name. As I scroll down, the other typical suspects arrive, like owner occupied. Maybe I'm looking for absentee owner. And while I'm at it, I only want the absentee owners that live out of state. By doing that, I just refined my results very, very quickly down to 214 properties. Again, it's the data. You're behind driving, telling the system what you're looking for and how you want to refine and what you want to refine or modify the results with. Of course, we can go through all of these and we'll discover that you can look for vacant land. You can look for properties with a specific number of square feet, a specific number of bedrooms or bathrooms, as well as whether or not it has a basement. Folks, this information is here and served up in this way so that you have what you need to quickly find what you're looking for. Now, in just a few minutes, we'll talk about these little old map layers, which are nice, but they're the same all the way through the system. So I'm going to introduce them to you one time, and then you'll notice anytime you see those words that you can, wow, I can add all of those layers to that map when I did an advanced search using a map. I can use those layers when I go to prospecting. I can use those layers when I use all of advanced search. I'll show it to you once and you'll become so familiar with that, as well as the results and how results are served up to you, that this will just be old news to you and you'll use it with little to no effort. Now, if I wanted to start over, I could tap on start over, but if I've got what I need here, I can tap view results. And don't these results look like what we already talked about in a simple search? The answer is yes. The only difference is the map is open because you decided that you already began a search in map search. So you've already told me you like a map. You like a map. You started with a map, so I've given you a map. All of the properties, as you hover and stall, are on the map for you to quickly see. If you hover and stall over a property that's actually in the MLS, you'll also find a link to the MLS here as well. The biggest difference down the left-hand panel, you'll notice that you can modify the results by so many more filters than what you did in a simple search. Remember, simple search was 5 simple fields. An advanced search using a map is 3 times the number of fields, and even more than that when it comes to refining these results. Remember, I did a search. I didn't say anything about what type of property. Now would be a good time to tell the system that I only want those that are residential. And as I scroll down to the bottom of the screen, I can update the results. The system takes away any property that wasn't a residential property. Just that simple. All right. So remember, we just did an advanced search using a map. Now, if I go back to search on the far left-hand corner, my search is still here. My properties are still displayed on the map, and I can still continue to do more refining using this directive. But if I'm done for the moment, I like to go to the bottom of the screen and simply tap start over, which clears that screen out, cleans my map up. I like to leave my house clean and tidy. As I go out of here, I know I have 0 properties because I took everything out. All right. Far right-hand corner, if you're following along, says back to advanced search. Well, why do we go back to advanced search? Because we only did one of the 2 ways to do advanced search. We did a map search, which is advanced. The final search is an advanced search all in, meaning I'm going to give you everything I have access to and let you refine and define your search based on everything I've got. What do we do first? We got to identify where we're looking, and always, 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 we should just reference that. Make sure you know that you are looking in the correct area. Tap, remove, replace.
I got a question. for you,
Absolutely.
Because I missed it when you originally did it. Show me where you clicked to go to the big map. You said view big map, but what did you click on that took you to the big map?
Perfect. So the question in the room was, when we're looking at the big map, when we did a search using a map, how did we get there? So we're going to go on back to the home screen just for a minute as we revisit that and tap on advanced and map search. And this is where I was. And instead of using the toolbar on the far right to pan in and out, what I did was I simply tapped on view larger map under the map. Yes. And that opens up and positions you to do an advanced search using a map. Now I'm going to go back to advanced search just one more time to show you what we're going to offer you as far as an all-in, all-inclusive, if you will, search tool. With this search tool, once again, we are going to tap and make sure that we're in the correct counties or several cities, towns, counties, okay? And as I scroll down, only because I'm slightly ADHD, I am going to tap the down arrow next to search by map because I've already done that. I already know what that is, and I've already decided that's not what I want to do here. Now what happens is what's remaining is a ton of containers that are displaying all the things that you could potentially search for properties using. Now, less is always more, all right? Please don't fill this out like an application for employment. There's no job at the end of the day, other than the homes you're going to help someone find or help someone sell, okay? So the first container says search by location. If I wanted to insert a street, a parcel, a zip code, a school zone, more than one name of school separated by a comma, the same thing goes here, folks. If I knew a name of a school here, give me a name of a school in Roanoke. Anybody in the room? If I start to tap, now looky there, now for whatever reason, I'll have to look at that one. I don't see that one coming up. Another one? And it may there. So as I start to type, and I will take that note, good time to say to you, with school zones, we update those quarterly. They're updated by precisely data. They draw shape files and attach schools to them. So as new schools are added, they're added to our system and we send them out quarterly. So if you find one that's missing, report that to us, okay? But the purpose of showing you that is that if you tap and type, it will display what we find that's going to closely represent what you're looking for so that you can look for properties within some schools. Separate those with a comma. The same is true for subdivisions. I can go back to the word lake and start finding the subdivisions that I want to look for properties in. Each individual container has a word submit at the bottom of the container. This is not applicable to just that container. What this means is, just like when you go to Walmart, you're not going to check out in every department. You are checking out and doing, you're exiting the store one time. The submit button is kind of like all the aisles. We have tons of options, but when we're ready to check out, we just find the nearest exit. The submit button consolidates your search, everything you've placed in each container to be used to look for your property. will be combined, and then you tap submit anywhere on the page. So maybe I don't want anything in location. Maybe I want to just tap exclude multiple parcel sales, and I'm done here. The property type I'm looking for is residential. And I am looking for homes with at least 1,500 square feet, but not more than 2,200 square feet. Not worrying about owner profile, but I do want to make sure it's active or pending or expired. Doesn't matter where I go, even to sections that I did not use at all, I could tap submit. And if I found something, my results will very quickly present themselves. Now, you know what results look like, and these are no different, right? So no matter where you start, no matter what search works for you, you can be rest assured that those results are going to be exactly what you expect them to be. And when they're in the system, whether it be active, whether it be expired, or even pending, you will know to look for, stall, hover, and have a link right back to Flex. All right. All with the refine results down the left-hand panel. Check boxes to remove or keep. Tap on the address to see and review the property report. See more by tapping on view more, export, and even create labels. All of those things still exist here. Now, one more time, folks, we are going back to search, and then we're just going to go right back to the home screen, because now let's look at that property report. We got about 5 minutes. We're going to look at the property report, and then we're going to review what types of things you can do from the property report. All right. I've got a list of recent properties as well as a list of saved properties. You too, as you become working in the system, will have these lists building on your behalf as well. Then I can just tap on a property report, and I've got the property report pulled up for me. Remember, in the last few years, for those of you that have been around or new individuals as well and are attendees via Zoom, we're going to let you print an original or condensed version as well as translate into Spanish. Okay. Save to PDF, print, save the report, as well as view the report in the MLS. If I scroll down, remember, I'm borrowing the photos from Flex. So if they're not in Flex any longer, they're also not in my system any longer. All right. Remember, you can expand both the map as well as the photos. And as I scroll down, I come to know and understand that those down arrows that I've been playing with all morning long are still displaying inside of the property report. Tap a down arrow if there's something here that you don't want to share with your consumer. Easily remove information based on your liking. This is your report, folks. This is what you're going to carry with you as you're approaching a potential seller, someone that you're going to list a home for, or someone that you're going to be their buyer's agent, represent them in their search for their new property. We've got general parcel information. Don't be afraid to tap on the links. They're created by county. Sales history, as well as tax assessment, taxes and mortgage history, as well as additional links to view the mortgage and trust details. No foreclosure on this property at all. So I'm just going to remove it because I don't want to see it. I just want that to be out of my report. Notice that it doesn't show up. It's grayed out, if you will, right? It's not there when you print it. You won't see it. All right. Property characteristics, along with extra features, lots, utilities and area, legal description, as well as FEMA flood zones. Hover install and notice that there are links out to the firm panel ID where you can look for and reference revisions, modifications, and revalidations. It happens, right? If FEMA is looking at organizing and making modifications to a map, you're going to see it here first. Having access to that very, very quickly here, as well as on the map that I'll show you in just a second. The listing archive, MLS links. Every time this property has been in and off the MLS, whether it's sold and expired and up for sale again, or if it is pending in some sort of way, we're going to keep this listing archive open for you so that you can reference and tap and look at those documents. All right. Now, finally, the map. So linking this to a map means that if I come to this map and I want to tap on view larger map, it does open an opportunity to see information. Not only do I see information, but I can start left clicking to see more information on the map. So not only do I have my subject property, but I can left click to see more of the properties on the map. Learning the toolbar on the right-hand corner means that I can pan in and out. On demand, I can change my view from road to aerial and even street side. If I don't love the lot dimensions and the shading, I can remove it. If I pan myself from one street to the next or move into a different city or county, I can tap on the locator button and find my way home. Now, if I want to know more than about just the parcel I'm looking at, I can draw a polygon to find out about other parcels or properties in the area. By drawing a polygon, the system will allow me to include a selection, and then, you guessed it, get those search results. So it's just another way to search around a specific property by drawing a polygon, a rectangle, or a radius, and then going directly to the search results or going directly to prospecting. If you do this just to play around, hover and stall to remove or delete or move that shape if you want or have missed your mark a little bit. All right, so I'm going to delete it. As I move down the screen, I talked to you a little bit about tapping on my measurement tool to measure parcels. So as I tap and measure parcels, the system will do just that. Measure those parcels, right? It's a good feature to have so you can identify acreage quickly and the lot dimensions of the parcels in any given area. Okay, because at some point you may want to even use the distance tool to measure a distance from a point of interest or even area. Somebody asks you how much of that property is a natural area or how much of that property needs to be mowed. My husband wants to be able to push mow and he doesn't want to have to buy a big, straight mower. He wants to be able to, and this is going to be part of their decision. Those types of things you can measure by looking at those aerial maps. We can print, email, save, and copy. As we finish up today or this session, we want to know that we can put more things on the map. The small arrows pointing back to the center of the screen give you that option. Things like recent sales in the last 48 months, play with it. The legend across the bottom tells you, and I love the look on your face when I turn something on and you go, wow, where'd that come from? Where was I getting that information before? It's right here. Turn a layer on, have the system speak to you. Out of those properties, how many of those are active, sold, pending, or expired in the area? The map lights up and gives you that information. And even when you pan across the map, it continues to answer your question. So it doesn't matter where you're at, it keeps talking to me. This is just a few of the layers you have access to. Play with things like deeded acreage and system calculated acreage. Don't forget, if you see this in front of you where it's grayed out, it's not that it's broken or not active. It means you need to pan into your map. So tap on the plus sign to pan in to fire up or create what the view you need to have an option to add things like deeded acreage. See a couple of taps on the plus, walk into the map, features come on. All right. Other things that you can do here, not only that, is we can look for foreclosures. We can turn on FEMA flood zones. As I turn on layers, notice the FEMA came up and flashed in our face. I didn't have to do anything but turn on a radio button. The legend shows me that it's on. So I have no doubt in my mind that what I've asked for is displayed here. Folks, again, this is just the beginning. If you haven't taken advantage, let this be the day. If you are using CRS data, thank you very much, and continue to see the new features. Take advantage of those. And thank you very much for hanging out for the first hour and 4 minutes by that clock and an hour and 5 minutes by that clock. So thank you very much. Are there any questions via our attendees via Zoom or anybody in the room? All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you today.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so for all you guys out there in Zoom land, you have got time, and I just disconnected
It's
something.
It's okay. It's just this, my power.
Sorry about that.
Are you okay?
We'll be back on at 11:30. You can sign off and come back on if you choose to. For those who are here, take a few minutes break. We'll be back at 11:30. See you then. Thank you.